Should have brought my 360 camera. It'd been a little bit easier for filming. But it is what it is. Oh man, it's cool on these rocks. Today, I've been feeling super lost. Just not sure what I'm doing in life, where I'm going. Put off filming a video for a long time today and just now getting out here and kind of finding some cool little opportunities here. Some neat rocks. This is like the smallest hole. If that rock fell, this could have been the video 48 hours. Except for it probably just smashed me. I'd have no chance of getting out. Good thing it didn't fall. But this is cool. Like, off this little trail, you find these big rocks. You find opportunities to explore and rocks to climb up. If only life was the same way, with finding opportunities to explore and jobs that pay decently. But it doesn't seem like those are around that often anymore. So we're forced to create our own through exploring the economy and job land of the US. I try to enjoy a little bit of each day out here. You know, life is a really tricky thing, especially when you're trying to figure it all out. You're almost in your middle 40s. You're kind of past that in midlife. And when you have nothing, you're kind of like trying to figure out, where does the midlife crisis stress go? And it's a balance of trying to think about the future while trying to contend with the present. Some days, I suppose, it's easier than others. This year has been remarkably harder, only because I don't really have any outlets right now. I used to have a mountain bike and a gravel bike and or road bike to kind of get out and ride and just enjoy life. That was the one activity that really just gave me happiness when I was out there riding. And now though, the weather's getting nice and I'm walking the trails, but it's not really the same as riding and feeling your fitness improve. And you just, for me, I guess, feel like such a slob and out of shape loser, like just a blob, which I know isn't really the truth, but man, it's hitting my psyche pretty hard as summer's coming. No bikes, no paddleboard. There's really nothing in my life that seems to bring enjoyment or a sense of purpose, living, friendships. And boy, I don't know how long I can last this way, because every day is like a little bit of a chisel out of my armor. And I remember saving in my car, in the cargo box, I have a bottle of hydrocodone pills. And I was just like, I wonder how many would just make me go to sleep and then peacefully move on from this life. And I've always just kind of held on to all these pills just as like a backup in case there was no way out. And I know I've always kind of just said that's a permanent solution to a temporary situation. But sometimes you don't really see the way out of the temporary solution. And day after day, it just kind of wears on you to where the temporary solution or predicament that you're in just starts feeling more and more permanent. And you just think it's only going to get harder from here. And the future isn't about humans. It's about robotics and AI. And just the uncertainty of going to school even and learning a skill. That job could be gone by the time you've actually learned that skill. Our leaders have chosen the path that they would like to go, and it doesn't seem to involve us people. It seems to just have robots and artificial intelligence serving the ultra wealthy, and maybe people who live in like tiny homes of 10 per people to each little abode. So I'm not really sure. This is definitely like the longest I think that I've been in this destitute mode all winter, going into another summer of living in the car, and sometimes just looking at your bank account and you have $3-5 and you're like, well, I'm gonna buy a box of cereal and that'll last me for the day, and sitting on Uber or whatever waiting for rides. But every good ride's given away to someone who accepts everything. And the thing about Uber is I'm actually at a detriment for having a nice car because it costs me more to run it. And so the incentivization of Uber or DoorDash or whatever, Lyft, is about driving the cheapest car possible, not providing any good customer experience or service, but just keeping your costs as low as possible. And pretty soon that'll be gone anyways. And that'll be robotic as well. So I think I just got to get my shit together and figure out some kind of life of servitude where work will provide housing and food, and then I will own nothing and be happy, like Bernie Sanders said. But even that seems out of reach and like an opportunity that doesn't even exist. And as I get older, I'm going to be more and more less valuable to the world. And so it's kind of like, what's the point? Instead of going through that battle in the future and that hardship when I can't move around as well and I get sick, I'd probably just be sleeping on like a street corner or in a cubby like in front of a business door and just being a burden on society. It's probably better just to check out before that eventually happens. But I don't know, maybe not today, not tomorrow, but I just always have these thoughts and I keep this big bottle of pills that I know will take me out peacefully into that long good night. And so I can't flush them down because I need that sense of security that like I can just hit that check mark out of here. It is kind of scary though, because being like a Christian person, I know that it should be God that decides when you leave this world. And I've got it a lot better than a lot of people. But sometimes you just think, I don't even care anymore. Definitely don't want to go to a land of purgatory though. Like, that doesn't sound very great if there's a soul and that's where it ends up. But then again, this whole world is kind of like my own sense of purgatory right now. And I don't see any way out of this. Neither heaven nor hell. It's like just this bland vanilla of existence where I'm always in a mild state of depression and sadness, but always kind of in like this mild sense of joy and happiness, because I do have a pretty good, compared to the rest, a lot of the world and its inhabitants from across the country. But perhaps they find the reason through more of a family and friendship community, where we've lost that sense of community here. And as you get older, the community dwindles down and it's just so much harder to build. We're just so separated. We're surrounded by each other, but are so resistant to creating friendships or bonds. And I don't know, I try even helping like people move things around, and then they're like, yeah, we'll have you over for dinner. Thanks for helping us for a couple hours, and driving over to our house and helping. And then it's always like, oh, when we find time. And it's like, well, I found time to help you and drive over, but no one has time for people like me. They want my time, but yet the sharing of theirs with me is non-existent. And these are the thoughts that kind of come in every once in a while, and I know I just got to get through it and survive. But it doesn't make it easy. It doesn't seem like it's ever easy. Especially surrounded by so much opulence and wealth and money. Which I'll probably never have or get to experience in my own life. I just wonder why God would set me on this life path if he loves his children and those that have tried to follow him and live a moral life, not given to the drugs or alcohol. I mean, I've stolen food when I've needed to. But I guess I can justify that in my own mind. I don't think I'd be punished to this level or allowed to even get to this point in life if God cared about me to where I was forced to steal for survival and then be judged by God. Some days I just think that if I had more self-hatred and just more loathing of myself that things could get easier. Because if you think that you're the biggest piece of shit and a terrible person, then at least you can justify the way your life is going. You can at least put some purpose to it. Like, you know, perhaps if I was like a thief or a drug dealer or something, and, you know, I treated people badly, and I don't know, I just took advantage of people in this life, then I could at least justify like the homelessness and sometimes not being able to afford food, and or I don't know, like even if I came from another country and just thought I've got to put my time in and I've got to work hard. I know I'm not owed anything, so there's going to be a time period of hardship. But I kind of have all the privileges and opportunities that America gives. And like, I'm pretty privileged, and yet I'm still on this like shit life experience, you could say. I mean, like, the views and everything are great, but there's like it kind of gets old after a while, I suppose, maybe, and all you can do is you look out into the world and you see people with their families and their homes and some toys, a bicycle, you know? I mean, people in Africa have a bicycle to ride, and I can't even really afford that. And so if I can come up with the excuses of I was like a terrible husband back in the day, and I didn't put enough focus somehow on my own career back then, and I didn't treat my ex-wife properly, and so that's why I deserve it in a way. It makes it easier just to deal with the depression and like just sense of hopelessness overall. And perhaps at times I will self-sabotage, and just to give myself that reasoning for, I don't know, like acting like a piece of shit and not caring about anything, and then I can justify just the other lonesomeness that I have on a daily basis. I'll probably regret making this video and being open, and I don't know, maybe lose subscribers or whatever. But I suppose I talk about this now, or I just don't make any videos, and I don't know. Might as well keep creating some kind of content for the world before I check myself out of this miserable planet. I would just like to travel and see more of the world before that happens, though. That would be nice. Just gotta figure out a way to somehow afford it. I mean, I can't even leave the town of Truckee. I wouldn't have gas to get too far. If I even wanted to get back home to Idaho, I couldn't. So I'm like, I'm stuck. There are worse places to be stuck, at least. But I don't like the feeling of the isolation with the fact that I can't actually leave. I do find the idea that people just get so overwhelmed with life, and just the thought that there's nothing in the future, so this is good enough time as any to kind of pull the plug out. But I've always been really curious about the people who are very successful in life. You know, they got big homes and they've got nice cars and they have good investments, and it seems like they're retired and they're living really like a good life. I never understood why they would choose that pathway. And someone like myself who, like, I have nothing. And I've gone through people who have checked out of this world and decided not to be a part of it anymore. But it seems like they've all kind of had families around. They've had decent jobs. They've had a home, a family that cared about them. And yet they decided to, like, just check out anyways. I would never have those thoughts, I don't think. I would never want to. And the only reason that I have this ideation is it's like everything's just been stripped. I just feel like I'm skin and some bones with a heart that kind of just keeps beating, and I just don't give up. I'm afraid of giving up, I suppose, and I'm afraid that if this current lifestyle continues on, that eventually it'll come down to that, and I don't know when that could be. But I always dream of having the life that a lot of people have had, and just the comfortability. And that's what I wish I could just acquire in my life, but I have no idea how. I mean, a home, even if it was just like adopted kids or something, like some kind of family. Fuck, even just like a dog, you know? Instead of this just soulless, lonesome, dark blanket that just smothers me every day, and I just can't wait until I can go to sleep at night, and then I dread the next day when I have to wake up. Instead of, I remember there was days when I couldn't wait to wake back up. I didn't want to go to sleep because I loved life so much. And I couldn't wait to wake back up for another day, another opportunity, and another day of like exercising or going to a job that I really liked. And it's just no more anymore. Perhaps it's especially hard when you've had that good life and you've had that comfort and just the support from having a family around you and a spouse perhaps that you know could have your back. And when it's all stripped away and you can't figure out a way to regain it, that's really hard on the soul. And you start losing hope that you can get back to that point, and you're thinking, how much can I sacrifice and be happy? And like, maybe I can't get back to that same level, but what's the minimum at least to survive and have meaning and happiness? And perhaps to get back to those days when the day ends and you're excited for the next, and just something different, and ready for the good or bad that comes, instead of I'm happy to go to bed and it's just going to be more of hell tomorrow. And it doesn't matter whether you wake up or not. It's all just a dark, wet, damp, depressing blanket that smothers your soul and weighs you down until you wish that you were below ground. Anyways, that's enough of that for today. I know I'll be fine, and I'll make it. I'll get through this and live to see another day. Whether it's good or bad. At least. How's it going?
Hey, good.
At least I have some of the freedoms to walk the trails and be in nature. And I still have my legs and my heart, mind, lungs, and that at least is something no one can take away for right now.